Hello, welcome to BioGrades TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How political parties started in Cape Verde. The political history of Cape Verde is closely linked to that of Guinea-Bissau, especially from the pre-independence era in the 1950s, before both countries gained independence from Portugal. A single political party fought for independence for both countries as the party nursed hopes for a united federation between the two colonies upon independence. However, such hope of unity came crashing as events unfolded in both countries after independence. But first, let us look at the party that was at the fore of the fight for independence. The African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde (PAIGC) was formed on the 19th of September 1956 in Guinea-Bissau by Amilcar Cabral, who was born in Guinea-Bissau to Cape Verdean parents. His half-brother Luis Cabral was also a co-founder of the party. The party was originally called the African Party of Independence. Its sole aim originally was to peacefully campaign for the independence of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde from Portugal. Other founding members of the party were Aristides Pereira, Fernando Fortes, Júlio Almeida, and Elisée Turpin. The party resorted to an armed struggle which became one of the longest wars of liberation in Africa. The PAIGC became convinced that only armed struggle would lead to independence after Portuguese soldiers on the 3rd of August 1959 opened fire on protesting dock workers, killing 50. The armed struggle, which began in March 1962, was led by Amilcar Cabral. The war continued for 11 years until 1973, when independence was declared for Guinea-Bissau and for Cape Verde in 1975. Unfortunately, Cabral was shot dead earlier on the 20th of January 1973 by a disgruntled PAIGC member. Cape Verde was a one-party state ruled by the PAIGC from independence in 1975 to 1990. The leader of the party at the time of independence was Luis Cabral, who controlled the two regions of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde. However, the party's name changed to African Party for the Independence of Cape Verde (PAICV) in January 1981 after the relations with Guinea-Bissau became strained following a military coup which ousted the Luis Cabral-led PAIGC government. The PAICV became a separate party from PAIGC and was headed by Aristides Pereira, the president of Cape Verde at the time. This was when all hopes for a united region ended. The PAICV continued as the only party in Cape Verde until 1990. As the years went by, the ruling PAICV continued to come under pressure to abandon the one-party system and embrace a more pluralistic democracy. Responding to this growing pressure, the PAICV called an emergency congress in February 1990 to talk about proposed constitutional changes to end one-party rule. In April 1990, opposition groups teamed up and formed the Movement for Democracy (MPD), led by Carlos Veiga. The MPD began calling for rights to contest the presidential election scheduled for December 1990. Subsequently, the one-party system was abolished in September 1990, and the first multi-party elections were held in January 1991. The MPD won a majority of the seats in the National Assembly, and the party's candidate in the presidential elections, Antonio Mascarenhas Monteiro, defeated the PAICV's candidate with 73.5% of the vote, ending the 16-year dominance of the PAICV. The MPD remained the dominant party when the next legislative and presidential elections were held in 1995 and 1996 respectively. Antonio Mascarenhas Monteiro was returned to office for a second term by the majority votes. Also in January 1993, during the MPD's second convention, divisions developed within the party. two groups emerged when no compromise could be reached. One of the groups went on to form the Democratic Convergence Party (PCD) in 1994. But the breakaway did not affect the performance of the MPD in the elections of 1995 and 1996. The politics of Cape Verde continues to be dominated by the MPD and the PAICV as power continued to go back and forth between them. The PAICV won the presidential elections marginally in 2001 and also got the majority seats in the National Assembly that same year. The party also dominated the 2006 elections. However, in 2011, though the MPD remained in the opposition in the parliamentary elections, its presidential candidate, Jorge Carlos Fonseca, defeated the PAICV's Manuel Inocencio Souza by 54 to 46%. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.